There's a new protocol in town. Reclaim Protocol aims to make student verification easier by leveraging online behavior and zero-knowledge proofs. I'm Joel McConvey, and on today's Biometric Update Podcast, I speak with Maddy Malolan, Reclaim Protocol's CEO.
First of all, I'm Madhavan. I go by Maddy. I'm the co-founder of Reclaim Protocol. Reclaim Protocol is a product for companies to verify information about their users. And the reason that companies work with us is that our solution is resistant to AI fraud and protects users' privacy. And there are three verticals that we specialize in, and those are verifying users' education, employment, and brand loyalty. And I'll take the liberty to jump a little bit technical in the next answer that I give you on how all of this really. Before I tell you about how this works, I think it's important for me to set up the stage of what is the problem that we're trying to solve here, right? So, so just to take an example, say if you are a student at Stanford and you want to prove that to me, how do I know for sure that you're a student at Stanford? Right? So one way, and typically the way that it happens today, is I, as a verifier, would ask, hey, could you take a photo of your student ID and share it across? And once you do share it across, I would look at this photograph, and I broadly know what Stanford student ID looks like. So I'm trying to see whether it matches those patterns. And then I'm also trying to look for anomalies, like to determine if you've morphed the image in some form or the other. So basically what I'm doing is I'm grounding the truth in visual authenticity, right? So that's all the cues that I have over here. And the key problem, the reason that we even exist, is that truth based on visual authenticity no longer works, because you could just Google Stanford ID, upload it to ChatGPT and say, hey, edit the name and whatever, right? And quickly spin up a fake ID. So basically, document verification has become really, really hard just using visual cues because of AI. Yeah, so that's broadly the problem. So the question becomes, how do we combat this? And with Reclaim Protocol, you can basically do the following, right? So you can tell me, hey, I want to prove to you that I'm a student at Stanford, and Stanford's official website is stanford.edu. And I logged into stanford.edu. And once I logged in, on my user profile, it said that I am an active student at Stanford. And what Reclaim Protocol essentially does is it encapsulates all of these steps that you just did into a cryptographic proof called a zero-knowledge proof. We'll dive into what that means in a moment, but essentially a cryptographic proof that you executed all of these steps, that you logged in into stanford.edu and nowhere else. And once you logged in, a user page showed up, and on that user page, it showed that you are an active student. And the key thing over here is, because all of this is a cryptographic proof, we can be sure that you've not cheated at any step. And furthermore, even the most advanced AI model cannot generate a fake cryptographic proof. So that's the premise over here. That is, no matter how powerful the AI gets, it will not be able to fake information that it should not technically have access to.
This is sort of what you're talking about when you, in the white paper, you discuss proof of provenance. And so this is sort of like, a way to prove that the credential itself is legitimate. Is that fair in a general sense?
Yeah, there are two parts to this. So in the example that we just took, you're trying to prove that you're a student at Stanford. When we say provenance, the provenance of the fact that you are a student of Stanford comes from the fact that you logged in into stanford.edu, and on the profile it said you're an active student. So that is the provenance. Now, for you to so you have a proof that you are a student at Stanford, but I still do not have that. So when we say proof of provenance, we basically are saying, okay, Stanford is telling you that you are a student, and you're generating a proof that can be shared with me, which is the proof of provenance. Kind of a little bit of recursion over there. That's what we mean by proof of provenance. There's somebody who is giving you information in a provable way, but for it to become shareable, you need another proof of that provenance so that it can be used by other companies and businesses.
And so this is effectively then, as if I'm understanding the white paper, it's a cryptographic key system. You're using ZKP, zero knowledge proofs. Can you explain how does this differ from something like a FIDO pass key? What are the sort of differentiators there?
Yeah, so passkeys are probably like a complementary part of the tech stack with VPN protocol, right? So passkeys are typically used for securely logging in into websites using a biometric fingerprint, face, whatever, right? But Reclaim protocol itself assumes that the login process was secure. If it has passkeys enabled, great. But Reclaim protocol itself is like kind of a little bit agnostic to what mechanism was used for the login itself. So you could have like a username, password, you could have OTP, you could have passkeys. Doesn't really matter. But once you have logged in, is when Reclaim protocol even kicks in, right? So once you have logged in into, let's say, Stanford.edu's student profile, that's when Reclaim protocol would kick in and then cryptographically try to prove that you actually logged in into the correct website, and then on that website you had so and so information. So yeah, like the answer over here would be that Reclaim protocol would generate this proof of information after the user has logged in, and passkeys more enforces that the login itself was secure.
Right. Yeah. So that it's sort of something that comes a little bit later in the process.
Yeah.
Tell me, where do zero knowledge proofs fit into this system?
Yeah, sure. So zero knowledge proof is like a very, very fascinating line of research work that has really just come to fruition very recently. And zero knowledge proofs have two very important properties. One is integrity, and the other is privacy. You can prove that the required steps were taken as part of this proof generation. That is the integrity. We've already talked about the steps that need to be taken and the fact that all of this can be encapsulated in a zero knowledge proof. That proves that not a single step in that process was susceptible to some form of fraud. Right? So every single step over there has been executed the way that it was supposed to be executed, and nothing was tampered with. We've already looked at that part. The second part that is also very important is privacy. Right? So let me throw a little bit of light on that. So let's say you open your user profile, let's say your Stanford profile, to stay with the same example. There's going to be a lot of information over there. Right? So a student might have their name, their phone number, their photograph, their physical address, a bunch of other sensitive information as well. But let's say, as a verifier, all that I want to know is, hey, are you an active student? That's all that I want to know. I don't want to know your name. I don't want to know your phone number. But all of that information is also present on the same web page. So we need a way to make sure we are generating a verification for the fact that you are a student over there without leaking any other information. Right? So that information is not leaked to us as the service provider, Reclaim Protocol, or to the companies that are using Reclaim Protocol inside their product. Nobody. So the information that is sensitive to the user and that the information that the user does not explicitly want to share never even leaves their mobile device. So that is what zero knowledge proofs enables us to do. And that's actually where the word zero knowledge comes from, is you actually learn zero new knowledge about anything that you should not be learning about in the process of generating this verification.
Yeah, it's data minimization principles.
Exactly.
The same stuff.
Like, from the GDPR lens, if you look at this, is like exactly data minimization.
So how do you do that? If I can ask, how does Reclaim Protocol isolate that information that it needs in a particular resource?
For sure. Again, I'll give you like a slightly technical answer, and then we can go much deeper if that's of interest. Is the way that a website, let's say Stanford.edu, is going to send information to your browser so that it can actually display it, is they are transferred over what are called TCP packets. Right, so every packet, depending on the system, might be like 8 bytes or 16 bytes, 32 bytes, something like that. No, not really. But your web page itself might be like several kilobytes, like multiple TCP packets put together actually form the entire page. So what we are essentially trying to generate a proof of using zero knowledge proofs is reveal only those TCP packets in which the required information was present. Everything else continues to stay fully encrypted, right? So when Stanford or EDU is sending information to your browser, all of that is end-to-end encrypted, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to reveal information from only a select set of TCP packets, which are of course encrypted. So we generate a zero knowledge proof that upon decryption of these few TCP packets, the required information can be obtained, but everything else is strictly kept encrypted and thereby hidden from everybody else.
Okay, yeah, I think that sort of clarifies the process. And in terms of partnerships, would you then have to sort of like partner with a school, with Stanford, with say U of T or something, and say, okay, this, we will effectively work with you to be able to access this credential, and so that this and generate this proof that can then be used by the student?
The short answer is no, and that is the beauty of this system. The beauty of Reclaim Protocol is that you can verify information about a user from any website. As long as that website has some form of a user profile, we can generate a proof for it. In fact, like any developer today can go to our developer tool and build an integration for verifying certain information from a specific website. You already have like 15, 16,000 such integrations built. And the key point over here is you don't need any partnerships, or you don't need the website to do some development work on their end. Like without even talking to the team behind that website, you can have an integration to verify information from that website. So yeah, that's the only way this scales, right? Otherwise, you have to go talk to each website, ask them to expose an API, and then do all of these integrations. So none of this is required, and I think that's the beauty of it.
And so most of our readers and listeners are familiar with zero knowledge proofs and this kind of tech, but there are always those who raise the privacy concern and say, well, how is this not invasive if it's able to decrypt the certain information on a website, etc.
Yeah, that's a very, very important question. That is, how do we keep all of this information strictly private, right? And that's also the reason, as I mentioned, we use zero knowledge proofs is because it promises two things. One is it gives us integrity, but it also gives us privacy. And the way that the decryption happens is the decryption still happens on the client side. None of the decryption ever happens on our servers, on our client servers, nowhere. All the decryption happens strictly on the customer's device, and that information never leaves the device. And because we use zero knowledge proofs, we can be sure that the decryption that was done on device was not tampered with. Right. So that is how we get the trust that okay, this information is indeed true, even though it was decrypted fully on client side. Like if we do not use zero knowledge proofs, the problem becomes okay, fine, you could still do all of the decryption on the client side, but let's say you have a jailbroken iPhone or you have a rooted Android device, you can the decryption mechanism itself as an external verifier, it would be impossible to know whether the process was tampered with or not, right? So a combination of doing all of the decryption on the client side and doing all of that inside a zero knowledge proof gives us both the integrity guarantee as well as privacy guarantee.
And so, this has all been discussed in the context of a student ID. But what are the other use cases that you're sort of foreseeing here for the Reclaim protocol?
For sure. There are the three verticals that we focus on right now. As I mentioned earlier, I'll give you a little bit of more color on each of those. The first one is student verification. And this is primarily used for stuff like student discounts. Right? So that's category number one. Category number two is employment verification. And employment verification, the top use case is background checks for hiring and loans. Right. So yeah, I think that's self-explanatory. And the third vertical we have is loyalty verification, and this is primarily used for in retail for deal and discount personalization. So you could say that, hey, I run 10 miles every day on Strava. I should get a discount on Nike or something like that. So those are our top three verticals: student verification, employment verification, and loyalty verification. And the far fourth is finance and identity. But I would say we have not yet established ourselves over there because a lot of the use cases are kind of addressed by open banking APIs in Europe or like Plaid in the US. So of course there are some gaps that we help fill, but from a traction perspective, that's the order in which we see most traction: student, employment, loyalty, and far fourth is finance and identity.
No, that's interesting. That sort of is a unique corner of the industry. So that's promising. What about age assurance or age verification, that sort of use case?
Yeah, again, as I said, we have a lot of developers who come and build their own integration for various websites. We have someone who has built something for NHS in the UK to verify their age using the NHS portal. So we have something in Australia as well. So there are people who are using this for age assurance and stuff like that, and we keep our eyes and ears open for where traction is coming from. Um, yeah, you're right. Like there seems to be a large opportunity over there, but it is, I think, still a growing category in terms of traction in comparison to the other buckets that we have. So, like identity, age, all of that put together, I think is definitely on the list. It's still fourth on the list, but I think the gap is a little bit more as compared to student verification, much clearer, clearer traction. Employment verification, very clear traction. Loyalty verification, very clear traction. Age and identity, there are a bunch of smaller companies using this as a cost-effective mechanism. Maybe.
Is there a biometric component to your platform at all? Like, are you collecting biometrics? Are you scanning anything at any point?
No.
Yeah.
So all of this information is strictly from information that is already available on a certain website, right? So it might be behind passkey protected or biometric protected portal, but we assume that to be true before we kick in and generate verifications for certain certain data points.
Gotcha. Yeah. So another issue for businesses, anybody looking for verification of any kind, is cost. And I have sort of read that this is a promise that you make is competitive costs. So how important is that in terms of positioning yourself as a solution?
I think the nature of the market is that you have to be competitive on cost, otherwise, are you even considered? So from that perspective, of course, we have to optimize our cost continuously and meet the industry standard. But there are like other pillars that are also very, very important. There are four pillars. One of them being cost, and there are three more. The first one is global. Like if you have to do education verification, um, you know, you can use this technology to do education verification all around the world because every website in the world uses HTTPS. So that's what we rely on. So this is global by default. You don't have to go talk to each of these universities in each geography to onboard them. So global by default. That's one. The second is versatile. Some businesses want a lot of information about their users from their user profile. Some want as little as possible, depending on the use cases. So being versatile and what data to collect, how much data to collect, is our second big competitive pillar. And lastly, faster. And many verification processes, I don't know if you've tried some of these of late, take like several minutes. or in some cases they take days, right? And we would be instant. Like as soon as you log in, you can generate a zero-knowledge proof of the verification. So these are like four pillars that are all going to amount to our competitive advantage. Cost being one, of course, global, versatile, and instant. So these are like our four pillars of being competitive in the market.
In terms of a position in the market right now, do you have a geography? Or do you have partners in North America? Where are you sort of looking to start to establish customers?
So our approach is slightly different. Instead of going geography by geography, we go vertical by vertical.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, for example, if you're doing student verification, student discounts, we would do student discount for products in Latin, in North America, in India, in Southeast Asia. We have customers everywhere. So, if you're doing employment verification for hiring portals, so we have partners in Australia, Korea, North America, of course, and so we tend to go vertical by vertical instead of geography by geography. Also, primarily because one of our core strengths is also that we are global by default, right? So I think that's also an effective way to sell because we can go to all of these verticals and say, hey, you can do this all across the world. I think that's very, very useful. So we go vertical by vertical instead of geography by geography.
That makes sense. Well, this all sounds very promising, and so where are you at this point in terms of growth and development, and where do you want the company to be by, say, the end of 2026?
For sure, this is like very, very exciting times. Of course, as a startup, but even more so as an engineer. We got incredibly lucky because there were two trends that had to intersect at the right time, and we had to be there at the right time. And those two trends are AI becoming like what it is today, because of which most of the verification mechanisms went for a toss. Right? So that's one exponential, and the other exponential is zero knowledge proof itself. Like even until 2 years back, it was practical to do all of these zero knowledge proofs on a consumer device. It was just not possible. It was too expensive. Like in fact, one of our earliest prototypes, it used to take 15 minutes to generate verification on your device, which is unacceptable by product standards, right? Both of these kind of culminated at the same time into an opportunity that we could latch onto. So in that sense, very, very excited that this finally became possible. I would say the first usable product came out only in the beginning of 2025 or late 2024. So we are right now in the process of just selling, right? We already have huge partners across all of the verticals that we talked about, but yeah, we are still small, I guess. So we are working on student verification, employment verification, loyalty verification, and trying to go capture that market. And where do I want to be by end of 2026 is I want to make the problem of AI fraud just go away. Like it, I hope that is not even part of our conversation in like 1.5 years. Largely because we have to change our mental models of what we mean by verification, right? So today, all the verification is like visual. Like, okay, fine, you show me a PDF, you show me a photograph. I think that that is no longer a valid form of verification, and that needs to go away. And even outside of Reclaim Protocol, like as an industry, I think if we accept that we need to step up our game in terms of how we verify information, that's going to be extremely, extremely important. And I hope to be able to contribute towards that in whatever little way we can from Reclaim Protocol.
Or not so little. You never know.
Hopefully we are not so little very soon.
Thanks again to Madhavan Malolan for joining us today. You can learn more about Reclaim Protocol at reclaimprotocol.org. And be sure to check out all the latest biometrics and digital identity news at www.biometricupdate.com.